Good day, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Favi, and welcome back to Arrows DIY. Today I'm teaming up with two of my good friends here on YouTube, Leanne from Simply Enjoying Crafting and Kendra of Late Night Creations, to bring you some patriotic tier tray decor, so I hope you enjoy. We're also going to be having fun playing around with these new Iron Orchid Designs stamps called Apothecary labels. They're by IOD. It's part of their latest release. So let's get started. The first project, we're going to take this wooden star from the Dollar Tree. I think they call it wood hanging decor. And we're just going to take off the tag and the hanger. Then I'm just going to come in and paint it all blue. And this blue is called Nautical by Folk Art Home Decor, and it is a chalk paint. I give it 2 coats, and then I call in my trusty helper to paint the other side. So I'm going to paint it in this brilliant white color. Any color will do. Now I want this to be white because I'm going to decoupage on this side. So if you're new to my channel, my name is Favi. Hello, welcome. I love getting creative with my home decor on a budget, and I'm a mother of 6, so I just DIY when I get a chance. I make a chance. I make it happen. So subscribe if you like that kind of thing. Now he went ahead and painted the sides of the project and made a hot mess. Now it doesn't matter because I just needed some kind of white white background for the napkin. So once that white paint was nice and dry, I came in with a layer of Mod Podge. So here I am adding on a layer of Mod Podge. And then I'm coming in with my favorite napkin for this patriotic season. This is my blue, royal navy blue check. It's called Royal Check, I believe, on MackenzieChilds.com. And I'm just going to lay that flat. A sweet friend of mine, Crafty Peep, over on Facebook, sent this in some happy mail, and I have been making so much with this one little napkin. So thank you so much, Tammy, for sending that over to me. I appreciate it so much. Now, once I lay it down, I'm going to go ahead and cut off the excess around the shape of the star. And this is going to help us sand it down. I make sure to press down all the edges. That way, when I go to sand it down, nothing rips the edges of my napkin. I get a little confident when I'm rubbing, and as you can see there, I make a little boo-boo. So I just carefully lift up the napkin, shift it to the side a bit, and compensate for that empty space. And hopefully nobody will know that ever happened, except you and me. But we're friends, so you're not going to tell anyone, right? Right? All right, so once it's nice and dry and I made sure that the edges are all pressed down, I'm going to go ahead and sand off the edges. I use Dollar Tree sandpaper, and I like folding it over so that it's more sturdy. And I just sand in the direction away from me against the edge to give it a nice clean edge. Sorry about the mess. I clean up my workspace in just a bit, but as you can see, the napkin looks flawless on that star. Now I'm going to flip it over and add some features on the blue side of the star. And these are some jewel border stickers from Dollar Tree. I have some Christmas decor in mind with these stickers, so I'm not going to lift the whole thing up. They're very sticky, but I don't want to take any of that tackiness away. So I'm only going to lift a little tiny bit of it and use a little tiny portion on every single point of this star. And as you can see here, it's very easy to rip with your finger. And I'm just going to go around and do this on every single point of the star. And I know it's very colorful. Now, if you don't like colorful decor, you can keep it neutral. You can keep it any way you want on your decor. But I'm going to go around and just add this to every single corner of the star. I am going to tone down the color a little bit in just a bit. So as you can see here, I just go around taking my time on every point. Now I'm going to cut off this little sticker residue on the corners. I couldn't find my good scissors, so I'm just using these Dollar Tree detail scissors, and they work just fine. Then I found my actual scissors, and I continued the job later, after I cleaned my craft space, when my kids were no longer taking over my craft room. So now, as you can see, I'm going to add some antique wax, and I thought this would tone down the red color just a little tiny bit and add some rustic charm to my piece. I love rustic decor, farmhouse decor, shabby chic decor. I'm very eclectic in my style, so guys, you really never know what you're gonna find on my channel. So if you like that kind of decor on a budget, always be sure to hit that subscribe button. Leave a comment below. Let me know what is your favorite decor style. Now, as you can see here, I just stipple the rest of the antique wax on my little sponge brush all over the face of the star. And now I'm going to take a little napkin. This is actually one of the plies off the napkin that we decoupaged on the other side. And I'm just going to pounce it on to take some of that excess antique wax off and bring some of that red color back from the jewel stickers. Now I'm going to use some of these stamps. I got these, they're called Apothecary labels. I got them from Sammy over at unicorndustdesigns.com. I'll link that in my description box as well. But I'm just going to use these to write a message on the face of this star. And it turns out so cute. Now, I don't have any ink as of yet. I'm slowly building up my craft supply stash supplies. So I'm just going to use some paint and a flat brush. In a little bit, you'll see that I use something else and it works a little better, but I was okay with this for now. I wanted to tie in some white to our red and blue decor, and then I just stamped it on like so. Now I'm just gonna rearrange the letters and I'm gonna spell the word white, paint it in white once again, and I tried to keep the strokes back and forth when I was painting, not really getting into all the nooks and crannies, just kind of lightly brushing on top. And now I'm going to write the word boom. However, I don't have two O's, so I used the letter C as a space holder, and I only painted the B-O-M. So as you can see here, I'm going to press down the word bomb. Actually, it says bomb. And now I'm going to switch the O and the C, the position of the letter O and the letter C. I'm going to switch those around. So now I'm only going to color the letter O. I hope I'm making sense, but you can see what I'm doing, right? And then I'm going to just paint the letter O and then put it right in that spot like so. But I left the other letters there to help me space where I'm supposed to put that letter O without so much guesswork. And there you go. And boom, there you go. I also made sure to leave enough space for the and symbol, and I'm loving the way it looks so far. Since I had my white paint and paintbrush out already, I decided to add a little bit of accents around the edges of the star, just to accentuate it and add more white to my red and blue. And I wanted to give it kind of like a dusting effect on the edges, kind of like when you go to the fireworks. After the fireworks are done, you see all the smoke and the ashy haze in the air. That's kind of where I was going. So as you can see here, I just take my paintbrush and kind of paint upwards, catching the edges. And then once most of the paint was off my paintbrush, after I was catching the edges, I come in and add the excess paint to give it more of like a dusty effect. And I really like how it looks. Now I went ahead and stippled the edges, the points on the star. And then with the napkin, once again, I brought back the red in the stickers, the jewel stickers. And basically I was just wet distressing the red stickers. And I love so much the way it looks. Now I had to clean up the mess that my son helped me make, so I just painted the border in more of that white paint. Once the edges were painted white, I wanted to add a unique stand. So I took one of these clear containers from the Dollar Tree, and I'm gonna fill it with some of these gold balls. Now these little gold balls came off of this pick from Christmas time, and I kind of wanted to make it look like pellets. I don't know. I think it's a cute little feature. So I'm gonna go ahead and just fill it with that. You can fill yours with buttons, you can fill yours with rusty bits, anything you want really. But now I'm gonna take some of these trees from the Christmas time, and I'm just gonna pull it off. Well, I tried to pull it off, it didn't work. So then I went in with my pliers and yanked it off. And I did this many, many times. You'll see in my next project. So now I'm going to take my detail tip Surebonder glue gun and some Gorilla Hot Glue, and I'm just going to carefully add hot glue to the edges of that opening and then just press down that little wooden disc. And I did that to both sides. And I just thought that was a cute little feature. I don't know, I can't explain why I do what I do, but be sure to check out my friends in their videos today. They're awesome. I'm telling you, I saw it, it's awesome. Okay, so now I paint the edges and the bottom, but I do leave a little space unpainted in that white paint, and I'm gonna add a natural bead to the natural wood. I always think that adding adhesive to raw wood is the best way to attach two wood pieces. So once I attach them with some hot glue, wood glue would be better, but you know, we're just using hot glue for now. Once it's all adhered, I'm gonna go in and paint everything white. And then I go carefully to paint the bottom edge. Now I'm going to add some of this Dollar Tree lace, and it's so beautiful. I love this lace. I don't care, I have so much lace, but this lace always gets me. I love the natural color of it. So I'm gonna go ahead and just hot glue it around the top edge to give it a little shabby chic feature. And then I'm gonna add some hot glue. I did not add enough hot glue here, so it did fall off. But off camera, I added double the amount of glue and it's staying on real good. But as you can see here, I'm holding it forevermore until it's sturdy. Now I took a whole bunch of ribbon from my stash. I got this ribbon from Michael's on clearance for $1. It's like these ribbon scraps that they sell for $2. Anyways, it's a great assortment. It's a great deal for Michael's. You get like 2 yards of each ribbon, and they give you like more than 50 ribbons for $1. Anyways, I'm gonna go ahead and use some wire and just gather it all together, and then I'm just gonna cut it to a very small shabby bow. I'm not even sure if I can call it a shabby bow. I think this is like a scrap bow. I don't even know. I wanted a tiny little accent there to look like a firework, kind of like a rustic firework. And I also added some jute twine off camera to the bottom of this little piece. Now I'm going in with my favorite gold paint called Mayan Gold by Folk Art Treasure Gold. It's Mayan Gold. I love this stuff. And I'm just going to go ahead and rub it a little bit all around the edges using a little baby wipe, applying it with the paintbrush and just rubbing it back and forth. And I do want some of that white to show through, so that's why I'm kind of haphazardly rubbing the baby wipe all around, and I'm just loving the way it looks. I think it makes sense because it's a star for it to be shiny gold, and I have gold in my decor. I have a lot of different metals in my decor and I love it so much. But remember, on your project you can use antique wax, you could use nothing at all. Whatever makes your heart happy. Don't let me stop you from making your project yours. And as you can see here, this is where I'm showing you the little twine that I added to the bottom. And I'm also adding some of that gold paint at the bottom. But guys, this is how it turned out. It's double-sided. I love this little thing. Let me know what you think about it in the comments below, because I'm obsessed. All right, so for this next project, we're gonna go in with the same little trees, pull these things off. I told you I tried to use my hands like Superwoman, but it didn't work. It didn't work. So I had to go in with my tool and yank it off. It was not hard to do. These are very cheap little trees. So I did this 8 times. Now the first 2 I used on the first project that I just showed you. So I'm just gonna make 3 more of these. Taking those little plastic containers from the Dollar Tree. I think it comes with like 12 in a pack or 10 in a pack. So this is a very budget-friendly decor. And I'm going to go ahead and just add hot glue just as before, but this is going to be more of a farmhouse project. We're going to be making little spools. I was looking online how much spools cost, and I think it was like $12 for 8 of them or 6 of them. I don't know, but I'm not paying that. So I just figured making it my own, making it myself on a budget. I'm going to take some of these wood little discs and I'm just going to hot glue them on both sides of this little plastic container. Now on the last one I added the gold little pellets, but on this one I'm just going to add fabric because I really do want them to look like spools. So I go ahead with the detailed tip Sherbander glue gun, adding hot glue just as before, and I love this little glue gun. So once I had both sides adhered, I'm going to add some fabric. So the fabric I'm using, I got this wine bag from Family Dollar. I used this on a previous challenge where I made a whole bunch of firecrackers, and I just cut off the top of the bag, and now I'm just going to use this fabric for Patriotic Decor. And I'm not going to use it diagonal, I'm going to use it you know, going straight across so it looks like stripes, more like ticking fabric kind of. And I cut it down to size. As you can see, there is a little gap there, but we're going to add some lace, you won't even see it there. And I'm just going to hot glue it to the center of this spool like so. And then nobody will ever know that all these items came from Dollar Tree. So now I'm going to go ahead and just hot glue it to the center of this now spool. And to make it more rustic, I added some lace to both sides with the scalloped edge facing out. And I love how it's turning out. Just take your time, there's a lot of little holes in here, and if you add too much hot glue it's going to seep through the holes and look kind of sloppy. So you do want to take your time to add the hot glue in the right spots. And then I cut it down, and I do the same thing to the other side. Now I thought I was going to leave a little bit of that lace hanging down, and I thought that was really cute, but I ended up changing my mind. But you could totally do this as well and just have it kind of making it look like an actual spool with some ribbon hanging off like so. But I just decided to cut it off because we don't need all that right now. Now this is the second spool now. We already made the first one, this is the second one, and this is going to be the white. So I'm making a red, white, and blue. So for this middle one here, I'm just going to add the lace all the way up. And I sped this up for your convenience. If you're still here, thank you so much for watching my video, and I hope you're enjoying yourself. And please don't forget to check out my friends' channels. I'll leave their channels linked in a pinned comment below so you can see their patriotic decor. It's awesome. And we all have very different decor styles, so that's what makes this collaboration so interesting. So if you go over and check out their channels, let them know I said hi. And thank you for watching. I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit of this jute twine just to tie it around a couple times and make a cute little knot, just to make it look charming and super cute. Now this can also be used like this, just like this as I'm using it today, but you could also use it to hold American flag. You could make a whole bunch of these and drill holes in the side and make like a little garland. That would be really cute as well. So as you can see here, this is the blue spool, and I just took this fabric from Dollar Tree with the stars on it, and I just cut a little notch into it so that I know how wide it's going to be. And once I cut that little spot, I went ahead and ripped it. That way it would have that frayed edge, which I love so much. Just some of that rustic nature. And I'm going to go ahead and just hot glue it to the center of this spool. Now I do hot glue the entire length of it just so that it looks full. I wanted the spool to look full. So I'm just going to go ahead and wrap it up. And these are so easy to make on a budget too. And it looks expensive. It looks like wood. Well, it is wood, but you know what I mean. Like a wooden spool. Now to make it look more authentic, I do add some stamps. So I'm going to show you that in a little bit. And it turns out adorable in my personal unprofessional opinion. So as you can see there, I hot glued the edge. Now I'm just adding a little tiny bit of that ribbon, and I cut the bottom of it at a slant. This is just a decorative feature. It is absolutely useless. It's just cute. So I think that's a reason to put it on. So now we have the red, white, and blue, and these are adorable. So now I'm gonna go ahead and use these stamps. It's the first time I've ever used these Apothecary label stamps, so I do have to give them a little bit of a sanding. I'm not sure if that's just for ink, but I did it just in case, and I do plan to get ink at some point. So be sure to subscribe and watch my videos so I can buy more craft supplies and look more official. But anyways, on this channel we make it work until we make it. So we're just making it work. And as you can see here, I just added some of this paint pen that I got from Hippie Crafter. That's the name brand on my paint pen. And I'm just gonna go ahead and paint just one side of this label to make it into a circular label. And it just makes it look more vintage. Now the first go around was not dark enough for me, so I'm just gonna go ahead and do the same exact thing. I found it better to stipple the paint pen instead of actually drawing the paint on there, and I think it's super cute because it looks kind of faded. Now I took another label after I sanded it, did the same thing, and this label was more of a decorative one, so it had a little spacing in the center. And I'm gonna go ahead and add some numbers. So I don't have a mount yet either. Guys, I told you I make it work. We're just making it work. So I'm gonna go ahead and take some of these tiny little numbers and I'm going to write out 1776. But obviously there's only one 7 on this stamp set. So I'm going to use another number as a placeholder. And I'm only going to paint on the numbers that I want to use. So that's the 1, 7, and the 6. So I gave it 2 go arounds with the paint pen, and then I'm just going to center it and put it right in that little spot. And I think this one turned out so cute. But once I press it down, I have to rearrange the letters so that now the 7 is in the second 7's position, and I'm only going to color in the last 2 numbers because I feel like the 6 was a little bit faded and I want it a little bit more visible. So I'm just going to paint in the second 7 and the 6. And to make sure that the first numbers don't stamp on, I'm just going to wipe them off a little bit and take off some of that paint so it doesn't, you know, smudge the first 1 and 7 there. So I'm just going to align the 1 on top of the 1 and the 6 on top of the 6. And I'm just going to press it down firmly like so. And I think this one is my favorite one. I think it's so cute and it looks so vintage. You could also add antique wax, but I liked it in the natural raw wood. This is the last one now, and I'm just going to use the letters USA. Just as before, I painted them in with the paint pen and stamped it on there. And I like it like this, nice and simple. But remember, you can use whatever stamps or stickers that you have in your decor. And that's how these turned out. Let me know what you guys think about this one. It's so sweet. Now for our final project today, I'm going to be using these sticks from these foam brushes, and I have a ton. If you're a crafter, you probably have a zillion. I'm going to take 6 of them and detach them from their foam heads. Once they're fully detached, I'm going to go in with some Mod Podge Multi in the matte finish. This is the new Mod Podge. It's all the Mod Podges in one basically, but it's liquidier. I also just got these new brushes from Mod Podge. I wanted to show them to you. They're so cute. I'll link them below if you want them as well. There's a discount code, FAVI123, if you want some discounts. And I'm going to go ahead and just use the Mod Podge. I'm going to add a good layer on one of the sticks. And I'm going to add this napkin from Dollar Tree. Now, I've used this napkin in my last video, and I had some scraps left over, and guys, nothing goes to waste in this house. So I'm going to go ahead and just apply a thin layer all over this stick, and then I'm just going to lay down the napkin. Now, I wanted 3 of these sticks to look different than the other ones. So with the first 3, I'm going to take some of this napkin. I wanted to decoupage the section of the napkin with the stars on it. You could paint the stick white first if you want a very vibrant color, but I like the natural color kind of peeking through, and that was good enough for me. I'm going to go ahead and just wrap the napkin around the stick. This is very simple to do, and once it's wrapped around, I'm going to cut off a little more than the excess. Now it's not going to be perfect. I wasn't going for perfect, so once we cut this off, I'm going to distress it so that it looks like an old vintage firecracker. Yes, that's what we're making, firecrackers. I've made firecrackers before 2 videos ago, and those are super duper cute with fabric. But today we're using napkins, and these are smaller for my tier tray. So next I go in with the next stick, and I'm just going to focus on the red and white stripes on this specific one. And as you can see, I start off with one strip, I add it on, and then I add some more Mod Podge, and then I just complete it all the way around, and I make sure to press it down all the way around, section by section. Then I cut it off where I think it would end, and then I'm just going to Mod Podge it down. Very simple. Now the top, I'm not going to Mod Podge. I'm going to sand off the edges in a little bit once it's all dry. Once I finished with that stripe, the third stick, I wanted to have half blue and half striped. So I started once again with just one stripe of Mod Podge on the stick, and then I placed the napkin exactly where I wanted it. And once I flattened that down on one side, I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing, adding section by section all the way around, making sure that there's no wrinkles. So I just go section by section, pressing it down carefully, making sure that the Mod Podge is right up to the section of the napkin that I had pressed down before. You don't want any bubbles, so you want to make sure to get the Mod Podge right in there. And then we're just going to press it down, flatten it down, making sure there's no wrinkles all the way around. So once the napkin was pressed down, I'm going to go ahead and cut off the excess just like before, but I do leave a little bit of napkin overhanging on the edge so that we can sand it down and have a nice clean edge. So as you can see here, when it was time to overlap this section here, a little bit of the white stars was overlapping the red stripes and becoming like a pink star, and I didn't like that at all. So I did lift up that napkin quickly on that section because I did not want that to adhere. And then I just took some scissors and I carefully cut off the stars on that section so that there were no pink stars on our little firecrackers. And once that was done, I just cut off the excess on the edges, making sure to leave a little overhang. Now for the last 3, I wanted these to be solid colors because I am going to come in with some stamps. So on the first one, I just took a little lid, just in my craft room, and in that I wanted to use some of this red color. However, it was not the right red that I was looking for, so I just had to mix together different colors. So I took some of this apple red color, I put a little tiny bit in the lid as well as a little bit of water, and then I mixed that in really well. And once that was fully incorporated together, I added a little bit of antique wax just to darken up the color just a little tiny bit. Now I do want this color to be watered down, so I just made sure that the color was deep enough but not pink. And as you can see here, the color that I mixed is a lot darker and deeper than the original apple red color there in that cap. And that's kind of what I was going for. And I give it many coats because the wood was just sucking up all of that paint, watered down paint. So I had to give it like 4 coats for it to be more of a solid color. But I do want this to be vintagey, so I don't need a solid color. I do want that wood grain to show. Then for the next stick, I just painted it in this white color. And this white color that I used is by Folk Art. I wanted the white to be more solid because I do want to use a stamp on this one. The white color I used is Brilliant White by Folk Art in the glossy finish. And then for the last stick, I used some chalk paint in the color Nautical, just as before on the first project today, and I did water it down just as before, and I just gave the stick one coat because I wanted it to be more like a wood stain. So that's what I did for the blue color, and once they were all done, I'm going to go on to the next step once they're fully dry. So once our little firecrackers are all dry, the Mod Podge is dry, the paint is dry, I'm going to go in with a sanding block and just sand off the edges. I sand a little more than the edge so that when we go in to antique wax it in a little bit, you could see that antique wax on the raw wood. So here I am doing both sides. I'm only going to show you a couple, but I do the same exact thing to all of them. Now for the wood stained firecrackers, I distress heavily. A lot more than on the other ones because I love that worn look on them and it gives it a charming vintage character. So I'm going to go ahead, and now that they're all sanded down, I'm going to antique wax them using Waverly Wax in Antique. I'm going to take some antique wax, load up my chippy brush, and then offload a lot of it onto this napkin and give it the faintest distressing. I like building the distressing, that way I can control the amount of antique wax on there. It's a lot easier to add on than taking it off after the fact, and I don't want my stars to get brown, so it's just a personal preference. So now I'm going to use the Apothecary stamps one more time, and I'm using the clear film as a stamp mount, and I've realized that I was putting the letters on backwards and I wasn't spelling the word freedom in English. So just keep that in mind, double check, make sure that you are putting your letters the right way. And then I just used my Hippie Crafter paint pen and only colored in the letters that I needed. So then I carefully held the little stick in place, held it from rolling around, and then I carefully applied the stamp, and I kind of rolled it a little bit so that I can get the entire stamp on there, making sure that I pressed every single part of it and then kind of rolled off the stamp. And it is a little tricky, but you know, you could always paint over it if you mess up, and that's how it is. Now I had to go and switch the position of the third letter and the fourth letter so that we could write the letter E in free. And I had to wipe off all the excess paint off the other letters to make sure that it's not going to interfere and smudge the paint. It is a good idea to let your paint dry first before coming in and adding in this third letter. And then I'm just going to carefully stamp it on, lining up the letters like so. Now I found this cute little stamp in another one of those, the same set, the Apothecary label set, but this stamp is like a finger that it's pointing, and I thought it was so cute and gives it more of that vintage vibe. So I did the same thing. I painted it in the black paint and then I just stamped it like so. And I think it's so sweet. I'm going to let this dry completely facing up, and then I'm going to add the last features. Always remember to wipe off your stamps right away. It's way easier than having dried on paint on there. And we don't want to ruin these stamps. They're kind of expensive, but they're a great deal because there's so many fonts and they're all equally enveloped and packaged. So it's really, really cool. Now I took some twine and I'm going to cut out 6 pieces of twine at 1 inch each. And then I'm going to use my dog clippers here. I don't have a dog, but I love using these for bamboo skewers. And I cut 6 little 1 inch pieces. Actually, I cut 7, but 1 flew across the room. So I had to go in and hold my hand over it so it didn't fly across the room again. And then I'm going to cut 6 of them. Once all 6 are cut, I'm going to take, oh, and the dog clippers are from Dollar Tree, by the way. Squirrel. Now I'm going to go ahead and build our little firecrackers, and I want these to be vintage looking, very old school looking. So there's going to be no rocket tip at the front. It's just going to be just like this. And we're going to add the little the little fuse on our little firecrackers, as well as a little I guess, stand. So it's helpful to add the little hot glue to the hole, add the little piece of twine, and then secure it in place with a little bamboo skewer from Dollar Tree. And that's what I did for all of these, and this is how they turned out. Let me know what you guys think. These are a lot of fun to make and a great use of something that would have been in the trash. So if you love trash to treasures, thrift flips, Dollar Tree DIYs, be sure to subscribe, guys. Give me a big thumbs up if you enjoyed this video. Remember to hit that bell and subscribe so you never miss a video, and share this video out. It really helps me out. If you want to support me, you could also donate to the Buy Me a Coffee account. You can follow me on all these things. And guys, be sure to check out my friends over on the links that I posted for you down below this video in the description box. Special thank you to my sweet friends Kendra at Late Night Creations and Leanne from Simply Enjoying Crafting. I had a lot of fun collaborating with you ladies today, so thank you so much. Thank you so much for watching, friends. I really appreciate every single one of you. Take care, God bless, and I'll catch you on the next one. Bye! If you like this video, here's another one you might enjoy.